Two double-crested cormorants and a grackle flying by. I know my dad was a big fan of Johnny Mercer and his songs. And one of his favorites was always accentuate the positive. Accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In-Between.
When you're out on the water, it's just such an amazing feeling, you know. But soon as you get on that boat and touch the water and just let nature work, it's just so amazing. A feeling you can only experience by doing it yourself. Is that Greckin or marsh wren singing? There we go, look at him. Yay! He'll be back, he's going down to the other side.
There's a willet out there on the sandbar. I'd gotten hooked on bird watching by the spring migration of the songbirds coming through every year, and that was just had become my passion. The next thing I know, I had kind of morphed into the bird lady. My birds sort of have become my best friends, and I got to go out and spend time with my friends. They're my friends. You hear that clatter in the background? Those are the clapper rails. The marsh hens, their nickname is marsh hen. They're what I call the soundtrack, the voice of the salt marsh. You hear them, but you don't see them. I like the colors. I like the fact that they have songs, they have freedom, and there's sort of not an end to how much you can learn. Just the joy of their presence and their freedom and their, diversity and their company. Well, Tybee's always had a reputation of being a little bit offbeat, a little bit funky. It's not quite big enough to have golf courses and to have resorts, so it has a more intimate feel, I think. Tybee hasn't gotten so developed. There's still a lot of that natural beauty here on Tybee. With a 30-minute boat ride, you're out on Little Tybee, which is completely undeveloped. And so you've just got a wealth of diversity.
You see the famous green heron, you see the red-tipped blackbird, you see our marsh wren singing a beautiful song, as well as some greckins and some marsh hens. So there's lots of different birds that we see on the tours. Oh, we have a bunch of birds. Giant egrets over there. Must be lots of little fish.
One of the things that makes this area so diverse and so interesting is our tides. So we have this 6 to 9 foot tidal variation, and this area, what they call the low country, we've got about a third of the salt marsh on the East Coast. And there's just something about the rhythm of that. Every 6 hours, the tide goes in, the tide comes out, the birds move around. So because of the tides here, when the tide is high and the birds can't be out feeding on the mud flats, they tend to congregate on the beach.
So we'll be going over to Little Tybee. We're going what they call the intertidal beach out there. We're gonna see all the good wildlife and shells that are there when all the water is gone. So let's take a look at some of the birds we can find today.
Habitat diversity means bird diversity. The Tybee North Jetty, down behind the Marine Science Center, is always one of my destinations. At low tide, that jetty often has shorebirds that feed on it. Shorebirds are some of our longest distance migrants in terms of birds. Many of them go all the way up to the Arctic to nest every summer. And so they have to have stop-off areas as they're migrating where they can stop and feed. And so Tybee is one of those stop-off areas. So the Shorebird Festival is something that was started in conjunction with the Tybee Island Marine Science Center. It really is about celebrating and acknowledging the incredible diversity and beauty of these shorebirds. All right, here we go. We have some snowy egrets going past. They're smaller than the great egrets, and they have yellow feet. And they use those yellow feet when they're feeding. They'll go shake their feet in the water to attract the fish, and with their little yellow feet. It's kind of a habit-forming hobby. People do it for different reasons. It's sort of an in-the-moment kind of activity to do. It takes your mind off of everything else you've been doing and brings you right into the present.
Just had a little cormorant in front of us that went down. And he's just pecking away over there.
Just by getting out into nature, you never know on a given day what you might see.